Alfa Romeo has always been a brand that thrives on contradictions. It builds family saloons with race-bred engines, Grand Tourers that are too fragile for Grand Touring, and sports cars that only start making sense when you're 4 hours from home. But at its best, Alfa combines passion with engineering in a way that no other carmaker has ever managed. Which brings us neatly to the Alfa Romeo GT Junior Zagato, a car that was both an oddball and a masterpiece, a machine that proved lightweight design, clever aerodynamics, and the brilliance of the Alfa twin cam could make something extraordinary out of something very small. It is also a car most people forget exists. Say, classic Alfa Coupe, and enthusiasts picture the timeless baritone-bodied Giulia Sprint GT, or perhaps the later Montreal with its exotic V8. But the GT Junior Z, that one usually earns you puzzled stares, which is a shame because this wedge-shaped creation, styled by Ercol Spada at Zagato, was one of the purest driver's cars Alfa ever sold. And, unlike many of its contemporaries, it didn't require a blank account, the size of Fiat's balance sheet, to own. You see, in the 1960s, Alfa Romeo was enjoying one of its golden eras. The Giulia saloons were dominating touring car racing, the Duetto Spider had become a style icon, and the company had perfected the art of squeezing maximum fun out of modestly sized engines. But
Giuseppe Luraghi,
Alfa's managing director, wasn't content. He saw an opportunity to expand the Junior line, cars like the GT 1300 Junior and Spider 1300 Junior, into something more exclusive and aerodynamic. So he called the Zagato brothers, Gianni and Elio, who were running the family's Milanese coach building business. Zagato had long been Alfa's partner for lightweight specials, and their reputation was built on cars that were fast, lean, and a little eccentric. Luraghi asked them to create a coupe that would sit above the junior cars in exclusivity, but still use the same mechanical base. So the task fell to designer Ercol Spada, who had just penned the Aston Martin DB4 GT Zagato and would later create the Lancia Fulvia Sport. He was given a Spider 1300 chassis in 1968, and within months, the GT Junior Z began to take shape. When he debuted at the 1969 Turin Motor Show, the Junior Z looked like nothing else on Alfa's stand. Where the baritone coupes were elegant and balanced, the Zagato coupe was abrupt and futuristic, with a sloping bonnet, stubby cam tail, and a greenhouse that seemed too long for the wheelbase. Some loved it, others called it awkward, but nobody could deny that it was distinctive. And the GT Junior Z styling remains diverse to this day. Viewed from some angles, it looks squat and purposeful, from others, slightly ungainly, like a coupe that shrank in the wash. But there was method in Spada's madness. The car was inspired partly by the Rover 2000 TCZ concept, which had pioneered a similarly wedge-shaped aero-conscious body. The goal was to minimize drag and give the Junior Z a performance edge over its more conventional siblings. The front end featured a unique plexiglass panel in place of a traditional grille, behind which sat neatly integrated lights, a very modern touch for the late 1960s. The roofline swept down into a short, chopped-off tail that reduced turbulence. Early cars even had an aluminium bonnet and doors to save weight, while the rest of the body was steel. Now the 1600 Junior Z, introduced in 1972, looked nearly identical, but it was stretched slightly at the rear to accommodate a bigger fuel tank. But although the change was subtle, it gave the car better proportions and a more balanced stance. Inside, the Junior Z was more conventional but still sporty. Bucket seats with integrated headrests, a handsome dashboard, and a purposeful 3-spoke steering wheel reminded drivers that this was not a mere family coupe. Underneath the wedge-shaped body, the Junior Z borrowed heavily from the GT 1300 Junior and Spider. That meant a unibody chassis with independent front suspension, double wishbones, coil springs and an anti-roll bar, a live rear axle located by trailing arms and disc brakes all round. By modern standards, it was simple, but by the standards of the late 60s, it was superbly well balanced. But the star of the show was Alfa's legendary twin-cam inline 4, designed by Giuseppe Busso in 1950 and refined endlessly through the decades. It displaced 1,290cc and produced 88 horsepower at a heady 6,000 rpm. Now the 1600 version, introduced in 1972, made 108 horsepower from a 1570cc engine. Both engines were free revving, eager and paired to a sleek 5-speed gearbox. On paper the numbers were modest. The 1300 Junior Z topped out at 109 miles per hour, while the 1600 could manage 120. But thanks to the Zagato body's slipperiness and curb weight of under 950 kilograms, the Junior Z felt far more urgent than the figures suggested. It was the kind of car that thrived on being driven hard, its twin cam wailing as the chassis danced underneath. The unassisted steering was light but brimming with feedback. The suspension was supple yet controlled, and the gearbox baked to be worked. On a twisting country road, the Junior Z felt alive in a way few cars of the era could match. Owners often remarked that the car seemed faster than it really was, and that was partly the effect of the twin cam's character, which pulled willingly from low revs but truly came alive above 4,000 rpm. And it was partly the compact dimensions. At just over 4 meters long, the Junior Z could dart through bends like a terrier chasing a ball. This was, in short, an Alfa that delivered the essence of the brand: sharp handling, soulful engine, Italian character, without the complexity or fragility of its biggest siblings. Speaking of, unlike many exotics of the period, it wasn't a nightmare to live with. The twin-cam engine was robust, provided it received regular oil changes and valve adjustments. The brakes and suspension were shared with other 105 and 115 series Alfas, so parts availability remained good even today. Rust, as with all Italian cars of the era, was the biggest enemy, but mechanically, the Junior Z was a solid proposition. That practicality extended to comfort too. Despite its compact size, the Junior Z offered a surprisingly livable cabin, with decent seats and reasonable refinement. Many owners happily used them as daily drivers in the period, something you couldn't say about a Montreal or even a Duetto. Now production was always limited, largely because Zagato was a small coach builder with limited capacity. Between 1969 and 1972, only 1,117 examples of the 1300 were built. The 1600 Junior Z, that added just another 402. That makes it fewer than 1,600 cars in total. A tiny number compared to the tens of thousands of bed-toned body GT Juniors out there. Today that rarity adds to its appeal. A pristine 1300 Junior Z typically sells around the 50,000 mark, with 1600s commanding a premium thanks to the extra performance and lower production numbers. And given the current trajectory of classic car values, especially for rare coach-built Alfas, prices are likely to rise. But to end this video off, the Alfa Romeo GT Junior Zagato may never win a beauty contest. Next to the perfectly proportioned, per-tone coupes, it can look abrupt, even awkward, but beauty is only skin deep, and beneath its sharp-edged body lies one of the sweetest driving Alfas ever made. It was light, agile, reliable, and genuinely usable, a combination that makes it one of the smartest classic buys today. But yeah, at the end of this video, please let me know what you guys think of this car and its story. Also, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Now, if you guys did like this video, you'll most probably enjoy most of my other stuff. So just go through my channel, see if there's some else I like. I'll check you guys in the next one. Cheers, eh?